moment they shut down Telegram, first of all, the developer of Telegram will find a solution. This will happen pretty fast. They have the money, they have the skills. So I would not. It's nice to think about that, but the moment the necessity arises, technology will answer. It's so simple.
We are quite smart.
You know?
I agree with you, Daniel. I think we are adaptable. We're able to adapt to these like challenges, and the innovation will only grow when we feel challenged. Like I know it by my own life and connecting with amazing individuals right here. I see the life stories that brought us here are quite magical.
If I can add something, I think that you are familiar with Parallel Nepolis in Prague.
Surely. Yeah.
They are really, I mean, an amazing group in this sense. And of course, this is like a freedom enabling technology. And it's very interesting your kind of approach to obfuscate, let's say, communication by sharing, the identities. It seems to me quite a bit similar to Tor. But on the other hand, I mean, I don't know if this could be actually implemented because, of course, if another person says something in your name, maybe you can face real-world consequences. So I don't know, how do you face this? How do you solve this challenge, or if this challenge doesn't apply in your model?
Oh, it's definitely a challenge, Mikhail. Yes, thank you for noting that. And also regarding Tor, Tor is one of the key, technologies for privacy across the world, including CIA works on it, and uses it. Yet there are not that many Tor nodes in the world, you see. So it's a small network, that's why it's so slow. So I would encourage everyone here, if you have a location, please run a Tor node. To answer your second question, which is way more challenging actually than cybersecurity, is the human factor. How to make sure someone who uses my identity doesn't abuse it. Hey, I'm living it through my own experience. I don't have the answer now, but yes, I'm collecting this experience in this shared identity paradigm. And I have to say that one-on-one direct human connection is one thing, right? When we spend time with each other offline is definitely a huge advantage. Well, second thing, how healthy we are. Individuals, how healthy am I? How's my energetic state? How's my mental state? How's my emotional state and physical state? And making sure that all my states can match your states wherever you are at. And I'm not inviting people who are in less than my state. You see, I want to surround myself with healthy individuals, healthy like I am. I mean, I'm not saying I'm fully healthy, but I do want to make sure that we match our health state so that we can not allow to backstab each other or to betray each other because someone else is in a lower state of being or lower state of health. And I'm talking about addictions, I'm talking about, physical diseases, I'm talking about psychological diseases and so on, these things. I think healthcare is not what we talk a lot about in the network state movement, but I do think we should. And I'm by far not a health expert, but as a Reiki master, as a Ayurveda specialist and Thai body massage specialist, I know how much we can use the skills and skill set that is basically what is called alternative medicine, bring that opportunity into the network state world, combine the, longevity technologies and all the amazing things that are happening in, say, Vitalia, right? And into the more spiritual and energetic health type of approach. This is, again, a little bit of a niche topic, but it's important. It's health.
Thank you. Like, I totally get your input. One thing what was mentioned, Tor. So I was running a co-living, and one guest I had, he was Italian. I don't remember his name, also doesn't matter. He was a lead developer of Tor. And he said, I want to have my residency in Malta. Can I register at Cocoa? And theoretically it's possible because he was living there, but I said no. I cannot do this because I don't feel safe enough. This guy was up in the air, he was so idealistic. He was like, I'm not afraid of nothing. And I said, bro, if you're the lead developer of Tor, one of the lead developers, I cannot give you a rental agreement. I am too scared that the NSA is coming. And then at the same time, I had a guy from the NSA bragging about that he's working for the NSA, wanting to be my guest. And I said, no, I'm sorry, like I have limits here. So I refuse.
Totally
This is not
respected,
just a
Daniel. I
short.
think it was a good choice. I believe these kind of requests should not be. That's kind of actually not respectful to you and your community to make such a risk. And I believe these should be ghost locations or fake, anyway.
Yeah. So, but like we spoke about the gay Russians here in Malta who got kicked out for no particular reason, who got homeless. They settled here for a year and then suddenly you leave now in 2 weeks. What the fuck? Secondly, also the tour developer maybe needs protection. Maybe he needs protection by other powerful, not powerful people, but energetic people who can protect him in the case someone is hunting his ass.
In that case, you got to communicate and make a solution together of what else is possible without needing to point all the pointers at you and your people, Daniel, right? Like it's really like figuring out together because yes, these privacy people, they're lonely individuals. Kind of like they're not socially, adapt to be able to ask for help, you see? And maybe he was, he saw you as a strong individual who could help him one way or another.
Or another example, which is really happening. So I don't know how many people are here in Malta with this nomad visa, but there is a community and there's a sub-community of people from Africa, nomads, because they are so happy about everything here. They have freedom and blah, and peace and security. And if someone would get kicked out because suddenly whatever any African country is banned by the US, trust me, they would go crazy and say, how can you kick out that guy from Zimbabwe? Like, why? They would go to the media and everyone would talk about this. But if just two lonely Zimbabweans get kicked out, they have no power. Everyone will whatever. So I think one of the products of the network state is that social security net. Like,
social security.
we stand for each other.
Truth.
When we agree on certain values, like certain worldviews, and then you fight for that other person, maybe with love, not with aggression. Yeah.
Good times. Thanks, Daniel. Social security.
So, yeah, really, because you cannot buy it for money, right? They are talking about private armies, but think a little bit more bigger, Just something we should think about. Okay, so what is the time? It's we are now 73 minutes in. I think we can make it like 15 minutes more. So if anyone wants to take the mic, there you go. No one. Everyone is afraid. So maybe let me come up with a question. What are the next steps? So we are talking since 1.5 years, 2 years in that chat, and everyone is talking. My understanding is just to start, like really start on the ground, organize meetups. Everyone can organize meetup probably, It's not just us in Malta, even though we stopped a little bit in a moment, but we will restart. And I think if people really claim that they want to start a network state, first of all, they should be able to bring people together in their city. So this is something I would really like to see, because when we have 10 meetups happening maybe at the same time, at the same day at least, this already is a signal. And people will talk about us because we are on the radar. Clearly, New York Times wrote about the network state. We are on the radar. But we should be smart enough not to position us as... We should act intelligent and maybe really start a lot of local meetups and bring different people also to our movement. More females and different schools of thoughts, different cultures. I really would like to see that. Yeah.
Question to everyone. Go ahead.
Ed has been organising a few meetups in London, which I attended. I think the biggest one had maybe like 6 or 7 people. Quite a few of the others just like me and one other guy. But I guess it's a start.
I have a question to
And this
everyone.
is something.
Daniel, I think it's something in line with what you were sharing. I have a question, maybe to you or everyone else. Is just where do you think like what are we missing? What are our blind spots in terms of where to call in people? Is it from, say, like refi, world? Is it from regenerate, or is it from more of, pull in university professors in for theoretization, or maybe get more people who are builders of actual physical buildings? Like, what kind of people, what kind of voices you think are missing currently in our community? Like,
First
which
of all, to say
industries?
something to John. So, like, we did network state meetups. We called it network state meetups. Then you have, let's say, here in Malta, because we already had the mailing list, 20, 30, maximum 40 people coming, okay? But there's a big correlation between what we are doing and other topics which go in the same direction. Whatever, remote work, body and mind night, consciousness night, female power, female not empowerment, but like female leadership night, crypto, of course, AI, all of those things. And then you not lure people into your movement, but all of those things belong together. And then it's a little bit of marketing, right? And then you bring people maybe to an entrepreneur's night or a body and mind night. We had 160 people here in Malta. And of course, I open the meetup and I speak about the big picture, and then I say we need to have a solution. And this might be organizing ourselves in tribes in network states, because you cannot attack with such an intense topic. Starting your own country, people run away. They are afraid. They think this is bigger than life. You guys are crazy. So we also need to think a little bit in marketing terms and positivity, because that event I'm still dreaming about, and was so empowering. And then we educated over 1,200 people about the concept of network states. But just running a network state meetup, that's not enough. Also, then we put all of our eggs in one basket, Balaji. This is like playing Russian roulette. Sorry, this was not appropriate, but you know what I mean.
Can I jump in and say something on that? It's me, Zev. I just wanted to say something about that because that's something I feel strongly about. I study sociology movements. I happen to be an attorney, but I have a background in sociology, biology. I worked in biology labs. Like a lot of people in the network state movement, I'm a curious person, right? We study the world. I'm a little older. I have some more experience. I've helped raise some kids. That's important. I think, there's a conspicuous lack of attention to the idea of family structure in the network state movement, and this creates a major divide psychosocially. And the reason that's important is because Balaji is perceived as a culture leader, and that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. All things have two sides. It's very easy to see through his, transparent worship of money. A lot of what he's talking about is nonsense. And at the same time, I love Balaji. I think he's great. I think he's doing something very good. But because of the nature of sociological movement, people tend to be like sheep. They tend to look at a leader and they tend to say, oh, his message is the message of God, right? And this is both a problem but an opportunity, because the question is whether a leader is sincere about creating a movement. Movements are more than about one person. They're about essentially collective leadership. You need a Congress, you need a parliament. And this parliament or Congress of adults with experience, wisdom, and maturity, and also something to lose, they can lead people, right? So I think Balaji is sincere personally, even though he comes from the crypto world, which is a world I come from. So I think it's important to put the context about what Balaji is doing, because that opens the door, Daniel, to people like you and other people who want to lead and become part of it. You're looking at people who are all staring at Balaji, and it's like a ridiculous thing. Some of it is he has money, but more of it is just attentional hacking. People want to be sheep. People want to follow, especially women. Women always want to follow, regardless of what they say. It's essentially biologically programmed into them. And I'm talking about statistical averages. I'm not talking about every single woman, right? It's easy to object and to create edge case objections in an argumentative framework, which is something I'm familiar with because lawyers like to do it. But You have to have a view of how the world works and the sociology of what a movement is. And then the question is, what is the network state about? Remember, new money is a false god. There's always new forms of money. Read the New Testament. Jesus talks about overthrowing the temple and the money changers. What is cryptocurrency but money changing? So all of this idea that the world is going to exist because of crypto, it's nonsense, right? But technology is fire. It's very powerful. We're living in the age of Prometheus with a new form of fire, and it's not just decentralized or proof of stake or whatever you want to call it with money. It's the whole idea of telecommunications, recording, accounting. That's important. And it's also coming alongside AI. It's also coming alongside new forms of hardware. And it's also coming alongside new forms of top-down attentional hacking from the authorities, right? No one in crypto is really talking seriously about COVID 3 years later.
Yeah.
And this is a very important sign that there's a lot of unserious people in the crypto world, not just after money, but just because they're stupid and unserious. So if you're going to protect people and create something new, you have to actually understand what's already being done to you, which is all over the world, right? The COVID is not over. When I say COVID, I don't mean a so-called plague. I mean the notion of control by medical tyranny and other means of control, terrorism, war, all this bullshit. It's all fear, right? So the authorities control everyone on fear. And if you want to create communities that can withstand this, you have to understand the psychology of mass psychology formation with fear. So that's part of it. And Balaji doesn't talk about it because he's, forgive him, he knows not what he does. You can join in his conversation, but the important idea is to create a form of leadership. And the leadership cannot just be based on money. It has to be based on commitment and wisdom of the leaders. I don't know how many there's going to be, but it can't be more than a few hundred people. If you look historically, a few hundred is the
144.
limit for leadership. So anyway, I've said my piece.
So one thing I want to say to you, what you were saying about Ed, is Ed is actually, he does the network state meetup group, but he actually has many other meetup groups in London. And I think when you add up all the meetup groups he has, it's like 10,000. But I'm not sure whether he's actively trying to cross-sell the network state to the other meetup groups he's in. So maybe what?
I was talking about Balaji.
Yeah, but Dargo was talking about Ed beforehand, and I was just going to respond to Ed. He's got about 10,000 people in other meetup groups, but I don't think he's cross-selling the network state to those other meetup groups. So I don't know, maybe you should have a conversation with Ed about how to cross-sell, because it seems like you've done that, so that might be valuable, Ed.
Definitely. I will do it, but in general, I just want to first respond to Seb. How you pronounce? How do I pronounce your name, Seb?
Either one's fine. I go by Zev, but some people call me Zev.
Okay, sir. Listen, we have to have a separate conversation about that, or a separate interview, because everything what I say 100% on point. The goal is not to create new patterns, not like a new pattern. The goal is to remove existing patterns. And totally, I just had a conversation with Astrid, also in the chat, about that we need to fork that movement, because I, of course, don't have the reach of Balaji, but I know that he took the idea and just branded it. So why should I put all of my life force in 7 years I'm building that here with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears? Why should I put my destiny into his hands? That guy doesn't want to make his hands dirty because he's not driven by life force. He's driven by opportunity. He wants to create a new NFT-like investment thing. He's not sincere, because otherwise he would not invite those people to the Netbook Day conference who are living in the Matrix. But the thing is, I will not attack him. That's fine. He is there for a reason. But at one time, we stopped playing, and we need to fork that movement. I like the word imagination. Yeah. So that's the thing. I also think he didn't understand what he's talking about, because he's thinking out of a little tiny American capitalist box.
Oh my God.
And you spoke about the Testament, and that's right where we need to attack, not at religion. I don't like religion, but we should really go back why we are here, not to serve the American dollar. And if I say this and people say you're a crazy guy, it's like, yeah, but wait, this is the reason for the Third World War, and for, you know what I mean? So we need to think bigger. But I don't think it's the right time to fork that movement. But yeah, I don't understand why he never contacted us, was never in our chat. Is he that busy? If you are that rich, you also have time, right? So I totally agree. Most people are just watching, especially the crypto guys. They don't want to build a Netflix. They want to make money.
Let me just. Religion can be a good thing. It's become a dirty word. It's a sociological word, really. And there's a lot of great thinkers. Auguste Comte recently, 150 years ago, great religious thinker. Emil Durkheim. There's a lot of, names, whatever. But ultimately, money is part of how people work. And so whether it's the American dollar or the British dollar or whatever government, right? Ultimately, people like to talk about gold and assets. I grew up in the gold business. My dad just melted gold every day. That's what he did. He bought gold and he melted gold. Money is transactional. It doesn't matter if it's gold or if it's crypto or if it's the US dollar. The networks that money flows in are always transactional networks, meaning people don't really care about each other. The question is about how do you integrate the idea of money as a technology with the idea of people caring about each other? And it's a hard thing to do. It's hard to do, but transactional versus personal are it's the yin yang of existence, and this is, I think, what the opportunity is here, because technology is a terrible master. It's a terrible master. It will enslave us all, or we can use technology as a tool to serve us and in this way grow tremendously. A lot of people are Luddites. They want to run away from technology and run away from the fire. Personally, I want to run into the fire and take the fire and make the fire controlled, right? This is the story, really, of the gods, and it's the struggle between man and the gods. This is how I see it, the myth. So, this is the tough part, anyway.
100%. And I'm always an advocate of Crypto 2.0, which is mined by being human. I'm not the only one talking about this, but I think it's too soon. It's about human interaction. You can start in a small scale in the co-living. How do I empower people if someone is preparing a dinner, okay, and you would like to reward him, but not by giving him €5, thank you for cooking. This feels awkward if you live together and you see him in trunks, in shorts, running to the kitchen every morning. So we need Crypto 2.0, which is parasite proof. You can buy it, probably for fiat, but it should be soul bound. But this is a different topic. We should have a different panel. And I really, really like your viewpoint and also like your ability to explain it from a spiritual and academic level. Definitely, we need a new form of money. And I only tell you something. I met a guy from the Boston Global Forum. He was part of our group, unfortunately, because he lured me into his magic. And I pitched him the idea of Crypto 2.0, which is parasite proof. You cannot buy it because crypto is just now, with central bank digital currency, it's just fiat 2.0, if you really think it through, because it's really hard to cash out. Anyway, and he responded so well to my idea of a new form of money. He already pitched me ideas, and I was like, where do those ideas come from? So I think the big guys are already thinking about, he had like the idea of like a dynamic inflation rate. If someone is accumulating a lot of money, is nice, because we are humans. You should do whatever you like and make a lot of money. But then basically is forced to spend it again and put it back into like a circular economy. All those crazy ideas I didn't fully grasp, but we are not the only ones speaking about this. And Crypto 2.0 will come, because crypto can be shut down tomorrow. The crypto guys really think they are sovereign. Oh, God damn it. They can destroy Bitcoin tomorrow if they want. But they don't want, because they pay.
I'm more cynical. I believe that at this point, Bitcoin is co-opted. So, I've been so I was a lawyer. I worked on the great financial crisis coming out of law school. I went to a fancy pants law school. I should not. Law school was